So I want to start with the number 67. 67. This number decided how capable a student was in my classroom. And honestly, it probably shouldn't have had that much power, but it did. See, in schools, we use numbers like this all the time. We have grades, percentages, scores, and we trust them because they feel clear, they feel fair, and they feel final. They help us explain things quickly. And don't get me wrong, I believe in assessments, I believe in accountability, I believe that numbers matter. I just learned the hard way that they do not tell the whole story. In the moment that taught me that, it wasn't loud, it wasn't dramatic, it was actually pretty easy to miss. So picture this. I'm standing at the front of my classroom in the middle of a lesson, and the classroom looks like most classrooms do. You have chairs moving, paper shifting, a little laughter, a few confident students with their hands up, ready to answer, comfortable being seen. And I was watching the clock. I was thinking about all the things that I still needed to cover. And then I saw it. A hand. Not all the way up, not waving, just halfway. It went up slowly, like the student was still deciding whether it was allowed to be there. And I noticed it. I really did. I remember thinking, I am going to come back to you. Let me just finish this part. Let me call on one more student first. But the lesson kept moving. A student answered. I turned back to the board. Another voice filled that space. And then when I looked again, that hand, it was gone. It didn't slam down. It didn't drop in frustration. It just disappeared. And that lesson, it continued. The bell rang a little bit later. Students began to pack up their stuff, and that student walked out with everyone else. And I never heard what they were trying to say. In that moment, it should have disappeared like most classroom moments do, because it didn't disrupt anything. Nobody noticed. Nothing went wrong. But I carried it with me because I kept thinking about that hand. Like, what was in it? Was it a question that they had practiced quietly? Maybe it was a thought they weren't sure was good enough. Maybe it was the right answer, maybe not, but I will never know because I never asked. That hand did not lower because the student did not care. It lowered because effort does not always look confident. Participation does not always sound loud. Some students are not raising their hands because they are sure. They're raising them because they are brave enough to try, because they are testing the space. They are quietly asking if their voice belongs here. And realizing that was deeply uncomfortable because it meant that I had missed something important. Not because I didn't care, not because I was not paying attention, but because I was doing exactly what the system had trained me to do. You are going to move fast. You're going to notice the loudest voice. You are going to keep pace. See, this system, it works really well for students who are confident, who are quick, and who are certain. It struggles with students who are thoughtful, who are careful, who are unsure. And once I saw that, I could not unsee it. So in my classroom, I had to make some changes. So I started slowing down more than felt comfortable. I started scanning the room longer than felt efficient. I started watching for hands that hovered instead of shooting straight up, for students who leaned forward and then pulled back. I started calling on students who almost spoke, not to put them on the spot, but to let them know that there's a place here for them. Because understanding does not always arrive confidently. Sometimes it arrives holding its breath. And here's the thing. That lesson did not just stay in my classroom. I started seeing half raised hands everywhere. In meetings where someone had an idea but waited. In conversations where someone started to speak and then stopped. And people who had something to offer but did not want to interrupt. Our system rewards the obvious, the fastest answer, the loudest voice, the most visible confidence. But so much of what matters lives just beneath that. So I want you to think for a moment. Who is raising their hands halfway in your life? At work, at home, in your community? Who is trying but not interrupting? Who is present but not prioritized? Who is waiting to be noticed instead of demanding to be seen? Because when we only respond to what is loud, we miss what is human. And that student that I mentioned earlier, that student still earned a 67. And by the rules of the system, maybe that grade was accurate. But it did not measure the effort without insurance. It did not measure the courage that it took to try. It did not measure a hand raised halfway and then lowered quietly. Because success is not about what we assess. It is about who we notice. And the most important lessons students teach us about humanity are the ones us teachers were never trained to grade. Thank you.